Hi, good afternoon. This is Dr. Michelle Cooley. I am here with Dr. James Cooley. This is It's Your Life with Dr. James J.C. Cooley. And we are so excited to have everybody on the show today. Audience, we're excited to have you. Please, whatever mechanisms that you're using to watch the show, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, any of our over 45 live streaming platforms, please our guests today just send questions, provide your comments, and we'll get right back to you. So we have an interesting guest on the show today. She's a first time guest. I'm not gonna spill any secrets, but we're really excited to have her on the show. So It's Your Life with Dr. James J.C. Cooley is all about motivation, education, and inspiration. And the guest that we have today is all about that. Hello, Dr. James Cooley. How are
How you doing?
you?
Hi, I'm doing just fine. I'm excited about the show today. I'm excited about this guest that we got on, and I'm excited about everything that we're going to do and what we're going to talk about because it's so important. And many times, we like to be silent about things that are going on in our heads and our minds, and we don't want to share those thoughts with anybody. And I believe that if we don't share things that are going on with us, we just continue to put ourselves more and more uh, in stress, and it could cause major depression. So that's why I'm so excited about this guest today because she is going to talk about some of those things, and she's going to talk about some of the things that she is doing in her coaching. And I tell you what, everybody needs to sit back, grab a couple bags of popcorn, because we're gonna have some fun. So, Michelle, can you please introduce the title of the show, purpose of the show, and introduce this absolutely wonderful guest that we got.
Oh, most definitely. So, the title of today's show is Breaking the Silence, Understanding Social Anxiety. And we're having a sit down discussion with ShaQuinnsha Paris. She's an encouragement coach and the founder of Love and Fine Works. She's going to talk about bringing awareness to social anxiety within the Black community, how to cope with social anxiety in the workplace. So, let's tell a little bit about our guest today. ShaQuinnsha Paris is an encouragement coach and, again, the founder of Love and Fine Works, dedicated to helping women who are quiet, shy, or reserved learn to stand the authenticity, power, and confidence by helping them embrace self-acceptance so they can have social confidence in every social setting. She has a Bachelor of Science degree in Human Resource Management and served as an HR professional for over 10 years. As someone who struggled with social anxiety, ShaQuinnsha decided to take her personal development into her own hands and find solutions for managing her social anxiety and thriving in the workplace. It was through her research that she also found a new passion to help other women like herself who struggle with social anxiety. She's been with her husband, Sean Paris, for 25 years. She is a loving mother to her Cocker Spaniel, Rottweiler mixed baby dog, Sosa, for 11 years. She has a large, close-knit family you enjoy spending time with. So please welcome to the show, ShaQuinnsha Paris.
Welcome to the show,
Hello.
Shaquinta. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
I am so happy to have you on the show, and I'm looking forward to this discussion. I know that our viewers and our listeners are looking forward to this as well because we all struggle sometimes with depression, stress, etc. Because we try to keep everything in, So that's why it's important. Shaquinte, can you tell our viewers and our listeners a little bit more about you, where you grew up, what makes you click? I mean, just some of the things about you that you learned that you live by today.
Sure. So, I am from the great state of Texas. So, born and raised in Houston, Texas. Love it here. I don't even mind the heat. Except for this past summer because it was ridiculous. It was very disrespectful. I don't think anybody appreciated the heat this past summer, but overall, uh, born and raised here, love my city. Some of the things that make me click are having opportunities to encourage and motivate people to do things that they didn't expect themselves to be able to do. I really enjoy hanging out with my family. I enjoy really volunteering in the ministry and talking about God, and so those are things that really bring joy
Yeah.
to my
So,
life.
who inspired you? the most when you was growing up as a child up through adulthood?
I would have to say that that is my mom. There wasn't anything that I didn't think that my mama couldn't do. Um, she fixed hair. She did reupholstery. She was a seamstress. She fixed stuff around the house. She was the queen of side hustle before side hustle was a side hustle. Um, so I was really inspired by her. She has really helped me to become the woman that I am today.
Did you have any other mentors that helped shape your way as you was coming along?
Different people that I worked with really helped to push me outside of my comfort zone and really mentored me within the community that I grew up in. I also had a lot of people to really support me and to let me know that the things that I was dealing with was okay and there was no need to be ashamed.
Yeah, so dealing with things, there's no reason to be ashamed because I believe that we have to, we have to depend on others to help us through because it's kind of like family, I believe. Family, even friends can be considered family because if you trust them and you believe in them and you know that they can help you out, just sometimes just by being a listening ear, I think all of those things are so important to whatever getting past any challenges or issues that we might have. You know, I got to throw a wrench in here because I do
Okay.
this with all of. So, if you had to pick a word to describe you, an adjective, what would that be and why?
I would have to say that it would be resilience. And that's because I can't stop. I won't stop. I'm gonna keep pushing forward, no matter what the struggle is. And I have endured a lot of struggle. I've had a lot of childhood trauma that I've had to endure. Of course, I've had hardships and trials as an adult. But I didn't let that stop me. I didn't grow weary. I didn't grow tired. I continued the fight. And I really do believe that endurance makes us complete. And in order to build endurance, you got to go through some things. And so I'm actually very appreciative of all that I had to endure because it's made me the determined woman that I am today.
And you are absolutely right. I believe in order for us to be able to know where we're going, and I'm talking about we have to have a path, and on that journey, there are always going to be some roadblocks that's going to throw us off course, or we're going to get knocked down. We're going to get knocked down. And many of us don't want to get back up. Once you get knocked down, you just want to stay there and just work. But the resilience is being able, I believe, to jump back up and say, hey, I am determined. I'm determined to do whatever I have to do to make sure that if I'm not on the right path, I'm going to make sure that I get on the right path. And if I need some tools to help me out, you know, just have to first of all believing in the Lord. I think is important. Secondly, is making sure that we are staying on the right track and we do the right thing. So I think I lost my camera for a second. It's come back in a few minutes. Uh, so, Mrs. Parrish, what made you decided to major in human resource management uh, in college?
Excuse me. Well, that was really just a natural progression. So I started working early and I initially started doing temp or contract work. And a lot of that was in the human resource field. So I was able to really gain a lot of knowledge, able to gain a lot of experience. And so that afforded me some opportunities to work in HR. And, I knew though that at some point, if I wanted to further my career, that I would have to seek a degree. So it was only logical that I do an HR degree.
So, what's the most challenging aspect of working in human resources in your experience?
Well, for me, it's ironic, but it was really the human aspect part um, of the job. And don't get me wrong, I love helping people. I love helping them to solve their problems. I love a good process. I love data analysis. I really enjoyed what I did. But what I didn't enjoy was the social interaction that's involved in the HR profession. So there was a lot of meetings, a lot of events and engagements that I had to take part in because that's just, part of the job. And somebody struggling with social anxiety, that's a lot. So I had hurdles that I had to jump over every day. But because I am that resilient person, I found a way to push through, and I found a way to excel in my job.
Yeah, so yes, HR. I went to school for quite some time in HR myself. But that could be tough by itself because in making decisions, especially in the employment portion of making decisions for others, is challenging and can be stressful
Mm.
because we have to go by the rules and regulations that whichever organization or corporation that you're part of. So uh, you say you've been in for quite some time, the HR. What's the most rewarding thing that you get from your job? I know there's challenges, but there are also rewards.
So just being able to help people, that's just the greatest part of the job. Being able to see people take pride in what they do. So helping people to develop and to really, like I said, I really love helping people to do things that they didn't think they could do. And so in HR, you get the opportunity to help people to develop. And so that was one of the things that I really enjoyed about my job was helping people take it to that next level.
Wow. And every organization need good people that understand and are out to help people identify their strengths and weaknesses, and also help encourage the department or divisions or etc. Whoever that you represent in the company. You know what? We're gonna take a station break, but we're gonna come back. And we're gonna pick it up wherever you're watching this at. Whether you're watching it on 8-360 Television Transfers TV, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, over 45 other live streaming mechanisms. If you want to be part of the conversation, all you got to do is just go to the comments. Ask this great guest any questions that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. Yes, your life. We'll see you shortly after the break. I never wanna leave. Yeah, I'm right where I wanna be. We got something you and me. And I can't get rid of this feeling. Just like a magnet, we're just like a magnet. The things we have can't be taken for granted. Now I know that it has always been you. I can't help it, I'm so drawn to you. Just like a magnet, we're just like a magnet. The things we have can't be taken for granted. Now I know that it has always been you. I can't help it, I'm so drawn to you. Hey, I'm so drawn to you. I'm so drawn to you. Yeah, yeah.
really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, or hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? And everything that you do.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you, I'm just sitting back here. Just first segment, by the way, is always getting the opportunity to know who the guest is, and for her to share some of her things, her ideas, upbringing, to give our viewers and listeners an opportunity to really delve off into what we're getting ready to get off into. So I tell you, if you want to be part of the conversation with this great guest, ShaQuinnsha. I probably messed up her name. I know I'm gonna do it, but I call her Miss Paris, but I ain't gonna do it. I'm gonna call her ShaQuinnsha. So if you want to be part of the conversation, whichever platform that you are watching this on, all you have to do is just go to the comments, ask any question that you might have. Promise you, we'll get you an answer. So ShaQuinnsha, you are an encouragement coach. Can you tell our viewers and listeners exactly what that is?
Sure. So, really, an encouragement coach is similar to any coach. So, what I do is really instruct and guide a person to achieve an end goal. But in regards to exactly what an encouragement coach is, it's really a terminology that I created, a term that I created, because I really like the definition of encouragement, and that definition is the action of providing someone with support, with hope, and with confidence. And so, as an encouragement coach, that's what I want to offer to the women that I serve. So I want them to know that there is hope. There is hope for them in overcoming social anxiety. I want them to know that I will support them in their journey to overcome social anxiety. And I want them to know that they can have full confidence and that I certainly have full confidence that they can and they will overcome social anxiety.
ShaQuinnsha, can you tell us or kind of summarize your journey and when you realized that you were going through social anxiety? And can you just kind of summarize that for the audience?
Yeah. So for me, I started to notice that I was struggling socially, probably in my early teens. And that is typically when you start to exhibit signs of social anxiety. And I really didn't figure out that's what I was struggling with probably until I was in about my mid to late 30s. I wasn't until then that I was able to realize that it was social anxiety that I was struggling with. So, for my young life, I just thought that I was just shy person. And then once I got into the workforce, I heard the term introverted. And so I thought, okay, well, that must be what I am. I'm an introvert. But then I really began to wonder, you know, do other introverts struggle socially like I struggle socially? And so I started to do some research, and I realized that it was bigger than that I was struggling with social anxiety. And so when I learned that, it was a big game changer for me.
Wow. Sandra Bolhair has a question. She says, what can they do right now to stop social anxiety, and what tools or techniques, if any, that can be used?
Sure. So I'm just going to be frank and honest with you. It's social anxiety is not going to stop right now. It is a process. So there is work that it takes to manage your social anxiety, but it certainly is treatable. And some of the techniques that a person can use are some relaxation techniques. So you want to learn to be able to manage. Um, your to regulate your emotions. So breathing is a great technique. If you're somebody that's just realizing that struggle, social anxiety is something that you're struggling with, try a breathing technique. So a couple that I like to use are what's called the 4-7-8. So 4 breaths in through your nose, hold it for 7 seconds, breathe out for 8 seconds. When I'm really anxious, I like to try the 3-1 technique. Now, it actually has a different name. I can never remember, so I just call it the 3-1. But it's three quick breaths in and then one breath out through your stomach. So it's a, and so if you do that enough, it really helps you to regulate your breathing. It helps you to really get some oxygen to your brain and help out your nervous system.
So wow, is there a lot of other techniques that you can share with us? I mean, that was great what you just said. And Sandra, hey, thanks for watching, Sandra. How you doing? How you doing? Yes. So, if there are other techniques that you recommend to our viewers and our listeners as well?
Yeah. So some other things that I recommend are talking to someone, and you know, that could be finding a social anxiety coach, that could be talking to a therapist. If you're not ready to do those things, then you can even talk to a friend, but talk to somebody about what you're going through. I also recommend that you get a support partner, so somebody that is going to help you to um, help you in going to events, so they you won't be alone. Um, Someone that's really going to help push you when you need to be pushed and give you that motivation and encouragement when you need it. And one of the things that I utilize on a daily basis is what I like to call the triple P's. And so that's being prepared, being persistent, and being practical. And so in regards to your uh, triggers, so no, your anxiety triggers, create a plan to manage those triggers, figure out what techniques you can use to manage those, and be prepared to put in the work. So, like I said, it takes effort. So be persistent in working to overcome it, and also to be and being practical. So be patient and show yourself some compassion. Be kind to yourself, because the attitudes and the thoughts and the beliefs that you've probably had those since you were a teenager. So they're not going away overnight. So just be patient with yourself, and also in that aspect, be ready to face your fears, because it's just a necessity. So in order to overcome your social anxiety, you are going to have to step outside of your comfort zone and into your fear. Sandra, do you mind if I answer the question that popped up, Dr. Cooley?
Oh,
Oh,
yes, it
yeah. Oh,
says,
absolutely. Absolutely. First of all, before you answer that question, why don't you tell our viewers and audience, Bill, what's what is your definition for social anxiety? I mean, what is social anxiety?
Sure, sure. So social anxiety is, well, you know what? Let me step back for a second. Let me actually say what social anxiety is not, because I think it's really important. What it's
Mhm.
not is all in a person's head. So a lot of people think it's just me, or you hear a lot of people saying, just get out of your head, just get over it. It's not quite that simple. Social anxiety, although it is mental, it manifests itself physically. It is real. Another thing that people say is that shyness, or think is that shyness and social anxiety are the same things. They are not. Shyness is personality traits similar to being an introvert. And although a person who is shy may be uncomfortable in social situations, um, that they don't really fear it. It doesn't negatively affect their lives. While someone with social anxiety, which is a type of anxiety disorder, they have an intense, persistent fear of being judged, of being evaluated by others, of being embarrassed and humiliated, and so that really affects how they live their everyday lives and how they perform. And some of the ways that it manifests itself physically is through rapid, a racing heart, rapid breathing, trembling, sweating. Some people even have panic attacks, and those are related to being triggered. And some of the triggers are going to events where you don't know people, or maybe where you feel uncomfortable. That's speaking in public. That's talking on the phone. Believe it or not, eating in public. So some of those things are triggers that really manifest those physical symptoms. And so,
ShaQuinnsha, I got a question for you. I mean, you were talking about in detail what social anxiety is and is not. Um, everyone's, and I just have a question for you, is everyone's how they handle social anxiety can be different based on the individual. You mentioned, being anxious, heavy, just nervousness. But is one of the other symptoms from what your research has come across is that maybe someone just starts talking fast, or they just start talking loud to be seen, but they are suffering from social anxiety, and the reality is they're not comfortable, so they feel they have to overcompensate. What are your thoughts on that?
that is definitely true, Dr. Cooley. It does manifest itself in a number of ways, and some folks it may even manifest itself in anger or aggression. And so yeah, so it's not the same for everyone. No, it is you see it more frequently, that a person is more reserved, but they certainly can be more talkative, just because for them it creates more comfort. It's just more easier for them to talk. So there are certainly different ways that social anxiety may manifest itself.
Okay. Now we want to get back to the question. I wanted our viewers to know exactly what that was. Now, Sandra got a question for you. She said, that great. Does meditation or affirmation helps in calming, I guess, getting past certain things or emotional, social, emotional behavior? Can you talk about that?
Sure. So yes, I believe that affirmations definitely help, because it's like I said, it's mental, so it's a mindset. It's beliefs that you've in having ingrained in you from years of different experiences. And so yeah, you definitely need to change your way of thinking, and affirmations can certainly help you to do that. And so it's great to always ask yourself why, and then when you ask yourself why, really go a little bit deeper, and then ask yourself, is what I believe really true? And then create affirmations to the opposite of whatever belief that you may have. So if I'm not really good at small talk, rewrite that. You know, I do great at small talk. I'm the queen of small talk. So really change your way of thinking. You say it long enough, you start to believe it, and you start to feel it. And in terms of meditation, I don't do meditation, but I do prayer. And I know everybody doesn't believe in God, but if you do, and just in my experience, prayer has been a great tool in helping me to cope with social anxiety and get through some of my toughest moments.
Wow. I believe in prayer. I mean, most important in everything that we do. especially when you have faced with challenges. Sometimes challenges are put before you, I believe, that's going to test you, going to test you whether how much you believe in yourself, how much you are willing to endure uh, some of the challenges you're going to have by going out and asking for help. I believe all of those things are so important. I believe what you're talking about, all these great things and ideas and that you are talking about, because experiencing things through yourself, meaning that through your path, through your upbringing, and whatever that might mean, we're able to relate that to others. So, but we're gonna take a station break, but we're gonna come back and we're gonna pick it up with this great guest of mine. And if you want to be part of the conversation, all you have to do is go to whichever platform you're watching this on. I see that we get our numbers are really, really up there. Whichever platform that you're watching this on, all you have to do is just reach out and ask this young lady any question that you might have. I promise you, we'll get you an answer. It's your life. We'll be back shortly after the break.
You fight against. And if you want my opinion, I'll let it take me away. Only relief is the four on the floor and the crowd that goes, oh, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, oh, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up.
Hello, I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley from the United States of America, and I am here to just say, first of all, I'm so happy and honored to be on it, to be in the Coffee Book 2023, Unified Brain Z and the other organizations. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this collection. Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and wow, this great guest of ours is educating us, and I see we got lots and lots of questions coming your way that people are asking you right there. So get ready. But you're very knowledgeable in this topic, and Wow. If anybody looking for a coach, this is one of the ones that you might want to seek out for. And I think that you don't have to necessarily be in her area to uh, just get her advice and her coaching. I think she can help you wherever you're at in the world. So yeah, so I tell you, ShaQuinnsha, I'm impressed and what you're doing and your answers and it seems like I can feel the passion before you even answer a question. You think about it and you want to make sure that you deliver the right answer. So I commend you for that. I commend you for that. So we got about 6 questions that I'm gonna put up here shortly, but I want to pick it up from what you was talking about. You were talking about affirmation, meditation. You were talking about all of those type of things. Those are just tools, and I'm sure there's many other tools out there that other coaches use, but I think those are important. Now we got Tara. She got a question for you. Tara, so do you find that social anxiety is caused naturally or caused from trauma? What do you got to say about that, though?
So social anxiety is actually a result of trauma, and it really develops in people who are more reserved and have experienced um, a lot of trauma. But there are some other factors as well, and so if you have a parent who struggles with social anxiety, then that parent's child is 2 to 6 times more likely to develop social anxiety. Things like bullying, teasing, those contribute to social anxiety as well. So it's not something that just automatically happens. It generally is related. Um, to some type of trauma. And like I said, it typically starts within your teens. And another thing to mention is that um, if you grew up with a parent who was controlling or a parent that just wasn't very warm, then there is a high probability that you may experience social anxiety as well. But a great question. Great question.
Let's see. We got another question that Panda JC asked.
Yes, the question is for me, it's a shaky voice. I can speak one on one with someone, but if it's multiple people, I get so nervous. How can I keep my voice calm and steady? And after you answer that, Shaquisha, I have a question for you.
Okay. So you can breathe. You can breathe. That's one of the easiest and quickest ways to really regulate your emotions, really to calm yourself down. And really nobody can see you even breathing. So you don't have to worry about what other people are saying about you, thinking about you, because it's easy to just, take some quiet breaths. So yeah, I recommend just taking some deep breaths to really calm yourself.
Okay, social anxiety. I know you mentioned it's mostly from a trauma, either the person experience or maybe somebody within their family, parental figure. But is social anxiety, could it be also, you know, based on maybe somebody not feeling confident within themselves and always thinking about what other people might be thinking about them? Minus any trauma. So I'm talking about self-confidence because everyone suffers from self-confidence in one way or the other. But let's say no trauma, parents are great, nothing the person has went through. Could it be that they're just not secure within themselves or just, just have high self-esteem? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So how I would answer that is, um, yeah, if they haven't experienced any trauma, like you said, if they have great parents, if they are not experiencing the extreme fear of being judged, or evaluated by others, then it just may be a matter of lack of confidence. So it is possible, to simply lack confidence, but where the social anxiety part comes in is when there's fear involved.
So how does and I know it's in the black community, sometimes we want to be resistant, saying, "Oh no, it doesn't happen here," but it does. How does social anxiety impact the black community?
It impacts us in a huge way. Let me first say that when it comes to mental health, the Black community, is underserved, and I mentioned how, social anxiety, can be a result of trauma. Well, we know that in a lot of our Black communities that there's a lot of violence, and over these last few years, there's been a lot of violence directed towards, those from the Black community. So yeah, so there's a lot of trauma there, and when, we think about, mental health as well, 20% of Black people, uh, develop anxiety, but we are far less likely to get treatment, when we suffer, with mental health. And when it comes to our young people, so young Black people are at a higher risk of developing, anxiety, among some other, mental health disorders. And then when it comes to the suicide rate amongst young, Black people, it's increasing at a rate higher than any other, non-racial. I'm sorry, than any other racial group. So it is so important that we let our young Black people know that it is okay for them to not be okay, to say something if they're struggling, and to know that we love them, we support them, and we'll continue, um, to care about them and treat them the same, no matter what they're struggling with. Um, and we talked about it earlier about how social anxiety can manifest itself differently, when it comes to Black women and it comes to Black girls. For some, social anxiety can show up differently. Rowena Abintes Dobson wrote a great, article. She's a fellow, mental health, advocate, and she talked about how, because of the angry Black woman stereotype, how that is so prevalent and so common and widely accepted, that a lot of Black women find it easier to display, aggression and anger, rather than to really display, anxiousness and fear. And it's sad that it's the world that we live in. Um, but it is. And so, as strong Black women, we need to know that it is okay for us to not be okay, as well, and to let people know when we're struggling mentally, we can be both strong and be vulnerable as well.
Wow. So again, I believe that in the black community, we as men and women uh, push away from professional help because we feel that we can overcome these things or whatever that we call anticipated in our mind, that we don't need any help. And no, this just something I'm going through right at now. Yeah, I ain't gonna talk to nobody. I don't need no coach. What would you tell the people out there? We only got 2 minutes before the break. What would you tell the people out there that is experiencing these things and constantly got roadblocks up to, I guess, appease their thought process?
Um, I would tell them, has it worked for you so far? Ask yourself, has it worked for you so far? Are you as happy as you want to be? Are you where uh, you want to be? And really, think about that. You if it's a matter of being concerned about what people think, well, you're just it's the cycle. That's what social anxiety is. And really, I also would say to think about what you have to lose and what you have to gain. Imagine your life without social anxiety. What would it look like? And then really make the decision as to whether or not it's worth it to seek professional help. I assure you that it most likely is.
I know it is. We're gonna take a station break, but we got about 5 questions that's in the pen that we're gonna talk about, and we're gonna get Skylar. We're gonna get them all of them on. So I tell you what, we're gonna take a station break, but we're gonna come back and continue to talk to this great guest because I'm excited. I'm learning a lot. I know you're learning a lot. I'm looking at the numbers. Michelle looking at the numbers. It's a lot of people are tuned in and they're watching. So I tell you what, we'll be back shortly after the break. It's your life. We'll see you shortly.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I'm over here tickle pink. You can tell because when I tell you I got a great guest, this is a great guest. Straight up, great guest right here, and she's putting it out. And we got a very serious audience out there. Lots and lots of people are watching, and a lot of people want to know more about you, want to know more about what you do, and Sandra she asked this question right here. She said, "You are very knowledgeable in this area. Are you available to speak at conference or seminars?"
Sandra, yes, ma'am. I certainly am, and would love to attend a conference or a seminar and bring more awareness to the issue. So, yes, ma'am. Contact me. Reach out.
And you also you got Skylar at Sandra. I second that. I would love to hear her speak at a conference. Please keep us informed if this can happen. I am there because this is certainly a topic that need to be brought to light. What you got to tell Scott?
Yes, I totally agree that it needs to be talked about more as scholar. And yeah, so I will post it on my page. Once I'm invited and get the details, I certainly will share with everyone because I want you all to attend if you can.
And, Skylar continue to have more questions. She's like, great question, Dr. Khalil. When I asked you about growing up mentally ill and all them talking about people growing up having these anxieties and social anxiety, that never are discussed and they want to sweep it under the rug and pretend like, oh, you talking to me? No, I'm just having a little problem. I get over this. So how would you answer that Scholar?
Yeah, I mean, especially within our community, is like you said, oh, I can handle this by myself. I don't need no, but it really hasn't worked. It really hasn't worked well for us. And I mean, these past few years, mental illness is really coming to the forefront. So I think it's becoming something that's more talked about and people are becoming more comfortable with. But I think that's the key. We just have to continue to talk about it. So talk about it at home, at school, at work. Really try to normalize it, because when we can normalize it, we start to feel more comfortable about it, and then people are more willing to ask for help, I believe. So yeah, let's stop sweeping it under the rug. Let's throw the rug out.
And that's the most important thing, sweeping under the rug and bringing awareness that, I mean, if you have a problem, if you try to deal with it by yourself, most of the time, you're going to make the wrong decisions and the wrong choice. And depression could seep in where it could take you to a place, the dark place, where it might be kind of hard to recover. So all those things are important. Now, Skylar got another question, like, for a person who doesn't suffer from social anxiety, how do we support a loved one who does suffer from it?
Great question, Scholar. So you really just let them know that you, although you may not be able to really empathize with what they're going through, but that you love them, and that you are not judging them for what they're struggling with, and really be a source of encouragement for them. So find out how it is that you can be supportive to them. So just ask them, um, how can I better support you?
Wow. One thing that we didn't touch on is social anxiety in the workplace. And, managers, bosses, et cetera, employees, I'm talking about co-workers, and that's, I can only speak for myself. It was in situations, circumstances, a lot of co-workers, you just looking like that. I can't trust. They gonna go, and she did this and he did that and all this other type, and it create issues and concerns because the boss, they might have the boss ear or whatever, and the person feels that they have no attention. They just sit back and think, how how can I cope with this? How can I get an understanding that my boss got my back, my coworkers got my back. I just got this one kooky one over here that's going to make things worse. So, how do you manage social anxiety at work?
Really, it's the same way that you would manage it in your personal life. So really, you would kind of do the same things at Triple P. So you would really evaluate and be prepared for those triggers that are created in the workplace. So of course, they may be different than when you're at home. So you really need to create a plan for work, and identify what triggers you at work, what techniques and things can you use to manage that anxiety at work. Again, just be persistent in working it out. and be practical. So like you said, not it's always one kooky one. So not everybody is going to be on board with what you're trying to do. So one thing that you certainly can do, and that I advise a person who's struggling with social anxiety to do, is create a communication plan. And so really what that means is just identify your preferred way of communicating in different work situations, and then share that with your team, share that with your manager. And of course there will be somebody that won't adhere to your plan. And so guess what? You get an opportunity to identify that as a trigger and find a technique to be able to manage that.
Okay, we're down to the last 2 minutes of the show. Real quick.
And one other thing I would say as well
We're down to the last 2 minutes of the show.
is, if you feel comfortable with your manager, just let your manager know.
Okay. Hey, real quickly, can you tell our audience about the Love and Find work? We got 1 minute to do that. Can you tell the audience about Love and Find? Yeah.
Sure. Founded 3 years ago. It's a passion of mine. We're dedicated to helping women who struggle socially really learn to embrace self-acceptance, appreciate their flaws, and acquire social confidence so that they can be able to be in any situation and be comfortable. And we do that through coaching. We do that by utilizing different frameworks and programs. And we also work with companies to help them train their managers on how to manage social anxiety.
How can people get in touch with you if they want to reach out for your service and your help? How can they get in touch with you? 30 seconds or less.
Please reach out to me on Instagram under ShaQuinnsha. You can also reach out on Instagram under Love and Find Works, via Facebook, ShaQuinnsha. And if you're a company, you can reach out on the website, www.loveandfindworks.com.
ShaQuinnsha, I want to say thank you for taking the time to come on the James Cooley Show. I think this was great. I got to thank Dr. Michelle Cooley for putting together another great show. Sandra, thank you so much for recommending this guest. My viewers, thank you so much for tuning into the James Cooley Show. It's your life on Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I tell you what, we got to go right now, but I want everybody to always dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Is your life. We'll see you then.